Good morning, everyone. This video will be me playing along with episode 159 of Craft Roulette, and the elements for the card are card on card, sky view, table, and white spots or dots. Now, last night I only got to watch the first part of the show live because I had a dinner date with my husband, and then I picked up the rest of the show after we got back home, and just decided that I would make the card this morning rather than last night. So follow along and I'll tell you my thought process and how I'm going to make my card. So my first thought was, how am I going to make a table? I came home and I went through all of my stamps and die sets and everything, and I didn't really have anything for that. So I decided that I would use my Cricut. I don't normally use my Cricut for card making. I know you can do that. I just find that my dies kind of give a little crisper cut than my Cricut sometimes does. But I went ahead and I was thinking for my table it would be a craft table. So I went into Cricut Design Space and just typed in desk, and it came up with this. Now this desk is a little bit different than my desk. I don't actually have the drawers because I have an electric desk. It lifts and lowers. And so, but I thought this looks like the typical craft desk. So I thought I would use it. And then I'm kind of mimicking my craft room. And so I wanted to have a window. So I went ahead and used my Cricut to kind of cut out a window. And my window has the grid panes, so I wanted to use the grid panes. So I'm going to kind of follow that along. If you want to see my craft room, check out my channel at Shanna Makes It. I've got a lot of craft room videos on there, so you can check it out. My craft room is a little bit different in that it's a studio as well. Okay, so I'm thinking because I've got these elements, I am going to have to make my card a 5x7 because it's not going to fit on all of this. So I've got a 10x7 panel cut out here, and I'm going to grab my scoring buddy. I got to get organized and pull it out. And so since it's a 10x7, I'm going to actually score at the 5-inch mark. So I'm going to score it there, and that'll make my card base. So just get it ready and just fold it so that way I have my card base ready to go. Move my scoring buddy out of the way. I'm just going to burnish this so that it'll have a nice fold on it. Then I also had this panel was just laying in my craft room, and it just happened to be the right size to lay on top of that. So I didn't even have to cut that. So how lucky was that? Looks like there's a little bit of something on there. I'm going to try and get it off. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to use this panel to start off. Yeah, I do want to use this side. See if I can get that off of there. Okay. So we'll just lay that on there. So I'm just going to lay that down. I'm going to grab my tape runner and just get that laid down. And then we'll go from there. So just begin building my card. And if you've been watching the process videos of all the makers, you might consider subscribing because I'm certain that they would appreciate it just as much as I would. I'm trying to grow my channel, and quite honestly, if I could get, several of you to subscribe, I could probably meet my goals. So I'm going to have to turn my card this way, or no, I'm going to have to go this way because I need the height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my desk and then my window, and I'll do a little bit of blending behind my window so that it'll be kind of a sky-y view. I've got the blue, which is the sky color, but anyway, but before I do anything with this, I want my drawers, which are cut out, and I need the cutout to, indicate that they are drawers, but I want to I laid a piece, let me see if I can find it. Hopefully I haven't misplaced it. I set a scrap piece of gold that I had. This was just laying around, so I'm doing pretty good using the scraps that I have. And I'm going to lay this behind there so that I'll have some gold knobs. So what I plan to do is to very gently And hopefully I'm staying in frame here, to very gently pop these circles out, but leaving my drawers still intact so that I can get them glued down to where they'll stay in. So I'll get those popped up. I'm going to need to get my tweezers to pull those out. Just grab them and pull them out. And I can see my tweezers have got just all kinds of glue on them. I'm not doing a very good job of cleaning my tools when I get done. So I need to do a better job with that. I do try to keep a pretty clean craft room and clean up after each project. I work better if it's clean and organized and not cluttered. I know a lot of people like to see all their stuff. I like to have it a little less cluttered. That's how I like to have it. Okay, so I've got those popped out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just glue this down on there so that two things. It'll hold my drawers in place, and I'll have gold knobs as handles. And I'm just putting my glue, my tape runner, I think it's called a glue runner. Yeah, tape glue runner, across here so that it'll hold my knobs in place, or my drawers in place, so they won't pop out. And yet they'll give me a gold handle on the front. So that's what I'm going to do with that. And then I'm just going to pop it out. So I'm actually kind of using a variety of elements. You know, first of all, I'm using my Cricut for my table and my window. And this is part of the reason why I don't always use my Cricut for card making. Is you don't always get as clean of a cut on your Cricut as you do with your dies. So there's my my desk. I've actually got, I think I have some wood grain paper that I might look for and actually put a floor down on that. I think I will do that. I hadn't thought of that, but I think that'll be fun before I lay it down. And then my window will be over my craft desk. So that's why I had to do the 5x7, is I just needed a little bit more landscape for what I'm doing. So I'm going to pause for a minute and see if I can find my wood grain paper and maybe put a piece of paper across there. That way it looks like my desk isn't floating in the sky, but rather sitting on a floor. Okay, well, I changed my mind. I did have some wood grain, but I thought I'm trying to make this look like my craft room. And I do have some laminate flooring on the floor, but it doesn't look like this. But on top of it, in my craft room, I've kind of got a rug that kind of resembles these colors. And it just kind of has a geometric pattern. This isn't obviously exactly right. But I think that's what I'll do instead, is I'll lay a rug down on my floor, and it'll bring in a little pop of color there. So I'm just going to cut this out, and I suppose I could use my paper trimmer, but I have my scissors handy, so I'm just going to try and do a decent cut on that, and it'll be part of my rug showing. Hopefully that'll work out. I think I'll lay that down and then put my desk on it, and then it'll look like my desk is sitting on the rug. Now my walls are not blue, but I'm just going to leave it like that. I think it'll be all right. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is kind of get this stuff out of my way so I can work here. I'm just going to lift my desk up for a minute, lay my rug down. It'd be kind of fun if that rug had fringes on it, but I'm not going to go to that much detail, I don't think, on my rug. All right. Now I'm just going to lay my rug down. Get it laid down on there. It's a little bit long. Oh well. Okay. And then I'll put my desk on my rug. Now I'm just keeping in mind I want to have space for my window So I'm going to go ahead and lay my desk down. And I'm continuing to use that tape runner just for ease of use. But I think on my legs, I'm going to go ahead and use some glue because that tape runner is a little bit wider than what I want it to be. And hopefully my glue will come out. Oh yeah. Okay, I was afraid that maybe I didn't clean it after I used it last time. But it's good. So I'm just going to position my desk on top of my rug. Just kind of using that grid to line it up. So there's that. Now I've got my window here that I just need to pop out. And I'm going to pull on my craft knife again. See if I can run along the line and get it good so it'll pop out easy. And I have sharpened my blade. I've changed my blade. I even did more pressure on my Cricut setting because I know I have to do that, but I don't know what the deal is, but it just takes a little more effort to pop these things out. Are you finding that you have that problem with your Cricut as well? I'd be interested in knowing. Now my window frame is white just like this, and it does have the grid pattern, so I'm kind of just copying my room, which is kind of fun. My walls are more of a blush color. And this, you can see my table runner there that I've got on my desk. It's kind of that color. I've got the boho theme. Oh, I showed a little bit. I showed it in the last video. I forgot about that, but anyway, there's a full-blown tour on my channel. Okay, so I've got all that popped out, and then basically what I'm going to do is kind of put my window here. I'm going to have elements on my desk for crafting, but I'm going to put my window roughly right there. So what I was thinking I would do is use this and kind of get it positioned where I want my window to be. So I'm going to get that where I want it. Get it even. I can't get my fingers to work this morning. And if my Ring doorbell goes off, I've got a contractor that's going to stop by here for a few minutes. So I may have to run and do that. I'm just holding this down and I'm trying to grab some of my low-tack tape. If I can get a hold of it. Oh, I'm going to have to do it again. I'm going to get my tape ready. If I have my tape ready, then I'll be good to go. Okay, so let's try this again. Hopefully this video doesn't get too long. Get my window positioned. Oops. Do it again. May have to edit this out a little bit because it's taking a little bit more time than what I really wanted to. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to get this taped down so that I can bring in a little bit of my stormy sky and just do a little bit of blending. I just don't want it to be completely plain, and I could just blot on this and just, I don't know how much this will show up, but just to make it a little bit more of just a little variation of color. And this is stormy sky, so I'm going to have more of a stormy sky look on mine. And you're not going to notice much of a difference because they're pretty close together in colors. But okay, and then I'm going to actually use a little bit of my Puma Stone, and I don't know if it'll show up, but I need to grab a blending brush for that real quick. Okay, yeah, and this is the one that I normally use for it. And I think you've probably seen me use these colors in my videos before. They're kind of go-to colors. And I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of, I don't know that it'll be very noticeable, but I just wanted a little bit of a variation between my room. So I've got that down there. And then my plan is to lay my window on top of that. And that way it actually kind of looks like a night sky. But it's a little bit different than my background panel. So I think what I'll do, I had some other elements for the white dots, but I think I could take one of my gel pens and we'll call it evening, and I could make some stars. And I probably should put this panel down so that I can see what'll show through. So I'll make some stars in my night sky. And these will be my white dots. All right, so it's a starry sky, and I've got my sky view and my white spots and dots and my table, and then I need my card on my card. But I do have a good option for that, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my window down, and I'll use my glue since I've got it opened and ready to roll, and just position it down. Got a little spot there in that corner that I don't like how it looks. See if I can clean that up a little bit. And I'm going to get some glue. Okay, that looks better. All right, I'm happier with that. So I'm just going to line it up. I've got my glue, so I got plenty of room to wiggle. Okay, so now I've got my craft table, my rug, and my window. I like it. It's fun. Okay, so I'm going to bring some other elements in, and I've kind of laid some things out. You know, in a craft room, you've got a whole variety of things. I have got, clean up my area here. Let me see. You can see all my little elements. I'm going to start cleaning them up. Okay, so I have got this kit that is from Spellbinders. It's So Happy, and it has a bunch of little cut pieces and stuff that you can use. And so I went through that earlier and pulled out some things that I might want to use. And so I'm just going to show you some of the elements that I'm considering using, and we'll see how that goes. Now, for my card element, I thought this was kind of cute, kind of a cute shape of a card, this little button thing. And so I thought what I might do is just take the corner of this panel and just cut around it and make that the back of my card. And then I'll just have to attach them together. So that'll be my card element. And then, you know, you have a lot of different things in your craft room. And I was thinking about, you know, maybe a sewing machine on my desk. I thought that could be super cute. And I had two sizes. This is nice, but if I want to use some other elements, the scale isn't quite right for some of the other elements that I might want to use. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and assemble my card because that is key, that I have a card on the card. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble it, and so where is my glue? All right, I'm just going to do the edge. I thought about scoring it, and that way it opens, but I think I can just kind of lift it a little bit. So this is a card that says buttons, and it's got hearts on it that you would send to your crafty friend. So I've got my little card. And I might just, I don't know if this will work or not, if I can score it or if it's too, I might be able to get a score line on that. All right, there. So I did get a score line on it. Now, I hadn't thought about it, but it might be kind of cute to put, I had laid this little button out because I thought it had the white dots on there that I could use for an element, but it might be kind of cute just to put it on the inside of my card. So I think I'll just take it and just stick it on the inside of my card, and that'll be in there on my card. So I'm going to have my card on my desk. So I'll have my card on my card. And then I want to decide what other things I'm going to put on my desk. I had laid this out too because I thought, well, it has the polka dots. But since I did the stars, I think I've got that covered. I don't know that I necessarily need that. I just need to decide what other elements I want to put on there. I really like this sewing machine for some reason. I think I'm kind of stuck on that. And I think it'd be fun to have a little tape runner and even a little spool of thread. So I think that would be fun. That's actually wanting to slide underneath there. I need to get a hold of it. Come on. And then I had this little needle too, but I don't think I'm going to use the needle. I think I'll just use the thread and maybe the tape runner. But I think that's cute. So what I'm going to do is just, yeah, I'm going to lay that down. Actually, I think I might pop that up just to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to use these squares that I get from Spellbinders. They come in the little card kits that you get. So I think I'm going to use the sewing machine. I have some other elements that I almost forgot about that I want to put. What Craft Desk does not have some kind of a grid mat on it. So I almost forgot about that. So I think before I get too crazy, I'm going to cut out a grid mat and put it on my desk, because I think just about every craft desk has got a grid mat on it. So I don't want to leave that out. I'm just going to cut across this line here. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't forget about that. And that's pretty big. I think I'm just going to take the numbers off because I've just got my 6 and my 7 on there. So I'm going to lay my grid mat on there because I've got to have that. Like I said, every craft desk has got a grid mat on their desk. I know I do. Mine's not green, but, well, the grids on my glass one, I guess, are kind of green. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that on my desk, kind of in the center, because that's where mine always is. And then I also had, before I get too crazy setting everything down, I also had these things here that I could consider as well. I think most of them are too big for my images that I want to use, but I can use them for sentiments. There's another, I had thought about that pink one too, another sewing machine, but because I want to use these other elements, I think for scale I've got to stay with that. And then here's some other items. I had a little drink spill on there, so I kind of messed up those, but there's definitely some sentiments on here that I can use, and some of these things I could use for some dimension too. So I'm just showing you. This kit is So Happy from Spellbinders. It's September of 22. Last time I checked, it was still available, so I'm hoping that it is. Okay, so back to the task at hand. Let's get this thing popped up and set down, and then we can start building our craft desk around it. Usually these, I must be pulling it from the bottom or something. Usually these pop right off. one of the yellow pieces. I think this is cute. At first I thought, how am I going to do this? And then on the way home from dinner, I thought, oh, I could do a craft table. And it just started kind of coming together in my mind, I guess I should say. So there's my sewing machine sitting on my desk. And before I get too crazy, I want to get my card on there because obviously that's a key component of my project. I'm just running a tape runner alongside of it because I just want that edge to be down so that my card's kind of on the edge of my table there. Okay, now I had to kind of come over on that to make sure it fit on there. So I'm going to probably tuck this underneath there maybe. And then put that, I don't know, maybe I'll just use this little tape runner and kind of tuck it in there. I don't want to get too crowded on my desk. So this card's going to go to one of my sewing friends, and that'll be fun. I think I'm going to tuck that in because I don't necessarily need to see that part of it, but I definitely want to see the part that looks like a tape runner. So I'll put that on there. Okay. Now, try and clean some stuff off. This came together easier than I thought. I've got these different things. I wasn't certain what I wanted to do on here. I kind of like this especially for you because I feel like it's kind of bland up here. So I think that especially for you could be nice. But let's look at what all we've got here. So we've got Oh Happy Day, which it's always a happy day when you're crafting, especially for you. We've got Love This, and that kind of goes with my sewing machine colors. And then let's look at what we've got on these pages here that we could possibly use. We have this Handmade with Love, which I could have put that on the desk, but I could even put it on the floor because everybody has crafting materials on the floor, it seems like. I know I do. Underneath my desk, I've got a multitude of things. So, okay. And then we've got Craftiness is free. Craftiness is free. Sprinkle it everywhere. I kind of like that because it adds some elements to it. Sew with the flow. Oh, happy day. You are the person that makes my day. Smart, funny, and fabulous. Find inspiration in every day. From the heart. Hello. Let's stay home. Simple things. And then the crafter. It was kind of creativity, fun, and absolute chaos. That's kind of fun. Okay, so I'm going to spend some time thinking about it and figure out what sentiment I want to put on there, and then I'll come back. So I think I know where I'm headed here. For one thing, I usually have stuff hanging on my wall, so I'm going to hang a floral on my wall there, and it'll cover up that little dot of whatever that was. And then I've decided that I want to use this Cute as a Button because it kind of goes along with my card. But I wanted a background on it, so I thought I would use, and I'm cheating, I'm going to cheat at this. I thought I would use just one of these. I think it'll work. I lay it on there. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to use one of these because I'm going to kind of cheat. I wanted to have some pink behind it. And this is saving me from having to cut paper around this. And then I'm just going to lay this on top of this. And then it'll have a nice little outline, and I kind of cheated at that. So I've got cute as a button. I've got my little picture on the wall. Let's see, is there anything else that would look good on there? I could do that boho rug there because hanging, because I do have a boho hanging in my room. Let's just see what that is. There a smaller one? Let me see if there's a smaller one in here that I could use. That actually looks bigger there. Because I do kind of have a little bit of a boho inspired room. It seemed like there was one in here. I'm just looking to see if there's another one that I might use. That's too big. Okay. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. Be kind of cute. Well, let me take a minute. I've decided not to get too carried away with everything that I've got on my thing, on my card, because it's easy to get carried away with that. But I think I will put a cute little button on here, and I think I'm going to follow the the pattern that's on my card, which is the little heart button. So I'm going to put it on my desk, because whose craft desk is ever clean when they're working on a project? And apparently I've got two projects going on. I'm sewing this, and I just made a card. So I'm going to leave it at that, I think. It's fairly simple, not a lot of texture. One of the things I could have done differently if I'd have thought about it was I could have embossed this panel here, and I wish I had have, but you know, I've got some gold elements here with my rug, my knobs, and this is raised. And then of course my card is, you can open it, and I've got my window, I've got my stars. So I've got my card on card, I've got my sky view, I have my table, and I also have my white spots and dots, and I have them here as well as here. So I hope you like my card, and if you do, I'd ask that you consider subscribing to my channel. It is so helpful to me, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would. But have a great day. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting. Take care. Bye-bye now.